Good morning. It's Monday morning again. It's the beginning of Holy Week, and yesterday we were able to share together online in Palm Sunday worship. This week will be a different kind of Holy Week, obviously, but on Good Friday we hope to go live here from the manse at 7:30, 7:30, on certainly on Facebook Live, and if you're on that, we will keep you up to date with when it's coming, so that you can be there at the right time. Easter Sunday, again, we'll be celebrating at 11 o'clock or whenever it goes on to YouTube, and you can share with us in that. Just remember that again, if you're in need, if you need anyone to help you out at any stage during this crisis, just ask. We are there and we do want to help you. We're going to continue in our Psalms of Ascent. It is Holy Week, but as the crowds would have gathered in Jerusalem on that Holy Week, that last week of Jesus' earthly ministry, they would have been singing these psalms. These would have been the psalms that would have accompanied them all the way up to the city, and they would have been ringing round the city that week. And so we're going to read from Psalm 132. Remember, O Lord, in David's favour, all the hardships he endured, how he swore to the Lord and vowed to the Mighty One of Jacob, I will not enter my house or get into my bed. I will not give sleep to my eyes or slumber to my eyelids until I find a place for the Lord, a dwelling place for the Mighty One of Jacob. Behold, we heard of it in Ephrathah. We found it in the fields of Jair. Let us go to his dwelling place. Let us worship at his footstool. Arise, O Lord, and go to your resting place, you and the ark of your might. Let your priests be clothed with righteousness, and let your saints shout for joy. For the sake of your servant David, do not turn away the face of your anointed one. The Lord swore to David a sure oath, from which he will not turn back. One of the sons of your body I will set on your throne. If your sons keep my covenant and my testimonies that I shall teach them, their sons also forever shall sit on your throne. For the Lord has chosen Zion. He has desired it for his dwelling place. This is my resting place forever. Here I will dwell, for I have desired it. I will abundantly bless her provisions. I will satisfy her poor with bread. Her priests I will clothe with salvation, and her saints will shout for joy. There I will make a horn to sprout for David. I have prepared a lamp for my anointed. His enemies I will clothe with shame, but on him his crown will shine. It's the longest of the Psalms of Ascent, and it's a psalm which helps people to remember the past. Last night, when the Queen was addressing the nation, she brought to mind the war years and her address with her sister, Princess Margaret, to the children of the nation at that time. And times like this do make us think back to the past. What were things like back then? Festival times also remind us of the past. So we'll sit around the table at Christmas and we'll say, do you remember that Christmas when this happened? Or at Easter time, that Easter trip we took to wherever it was. These times are markers when we look back and we remember. And in the Passover feast, the Passover time, there will be many memories of people. Oh, do you remember so-and-so was with us last year or 5 years ago or whatever? This psalm is a deliberate attempt to spark those memories not from last year or 5 years ago, but from 1,000 years before, when David brought the ark into Jerusalem, when David made God's presence the center of worship for God's people. Again, the ark was the symbol of God's presence with them. And so as they look back, they remember how God promised to be with David, how God promised to be with his people. His presence with his people through everything that they went through was the most important thing for them to remember. And David and his kingship was another sign of that presence. God promises in this psalm that someone from David's line will reign forever. He promises that God will dwell in and with his people. And those two promises work together, because someone from David's line reigns on the throne forever. Jesus, the Son of David, is also the one in whom God's presence dwells on earth. But it's more than that, because Jesus, when he returns to heaven, or before he returns to heaven, promises that God's presence will dwell in and with his people, that we are never alone, that he is always near, he dwells within us. We are, as God's people, abundantly blessed, just like Zion was abundantly blessed by God. We can be utterly confident in the one who has loved us and given himself for us. And therefore, like David, we can be willingly obedient to him and do what we know he would have us do. We can look back on his faithfulness to us. We can look back on his goodness to us. We can look back at all those times in our lives when we've experienced his comfort, his peace, his joy, his strength. And in that we can go forward in faith, because those memories of his presence with us then are still with us now. He is still with us now, and he will take us forward into the future. We can look to him by faith. We can step out in hope-filled faith today, in the knowledge that our God is with us, that his presence indwells us, and that he will never leave us, and he will never forsake us. God bless. Take care.